Experience the ultimate thrill, Porsche GT Track Day, where passion meets performance on some of North America's most legendary racetracks. Designed exclusively for Porsche owners, this is your chance to unleash the full potential of your vehicle in a motorsport environment. Drive the same circuits as professional racers, on the same weekend as Porsche Sprint Challenge events. Where will your Porsche take you? With limited space, every Porsche GT Track Day ensures a premium, exclusive experience. You'll get nearly 3 hours of track time, starting with reconnaissance laps, progressing through lead-follow sessions, and culminating in exhilarating open laps. Plus, strap in for heart-pounding hot laps with a professional race driver.
I thought I was fast. Didn't resemble anything that I've ever done.
Beyond the track, immerse yourself in VIP hospitality, premium viewing areas, and exclusive paddock access where you can witness Porsche Sprint Challenge teams in action. Spots are limited. Scan the QR code now to reserve your place at Porsche GT Track Day.
We're here in fantastic Austin, Texas. Enjoy, when they say everything is bigger in Texas, they really mean it.
They really do, including this fantastic facility, FIA Grade 1, 20 turns, known as the Circuit of the Americas.
And the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America is going to be tackling it today, so let's see how they do. We've got Scott Blend of Ruckus Racing. Scott, you've started to earn the nickname of the Iron Man. You did every race of the weekend back at Sonoma, and you're doing it again here at Circuit of the Americas. What pushes you to try that?
You know, I just want to maximize this track time. You know, I'm here, I might as well do it. I've got the energy to do it, so you know, it just and every time I do, I just get a little better every session. You know, so that's the goal. Is just to keep improving.
I know there's the obvious difficulties that come with it, but what are some of the other things that you have to be concerned with when trying that over a weekend?
So, of course, this weekend the heat is brutal, but when it's hard on the team, you know, to get the cars ready, and it's always back-to-back on the cars and qualifying, and so you have to have kind of two separate crews, you know, running the each car. So that, I think, it's the timing and just everybody being in sync and everybody being ready when it's time to go.
Is there anything this weekend that you found out from doing it at Sonoma that you think will help you?
Yeah, I think we've learned, you know, a lot out on track with the pit strategies. And I think you all know we fall back early, but at the end, things seem to be working out well, and we're there at the end and fighting for that podium. So, yeah, just a little bit of track. We're going to miss Mike Johnson this weekend. He's not here. He's really good on the box. But no, it's just we get a little better each time with our timing, with our prep, with our execution. And I think that's what we were learning is how to improve on that.
Well, best of luck. Drink lots of fluids.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll see you on the track.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I always say the more the merrier, and with how many cars we have this weekend, it's certainly proving true. It's time for the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America Cup Series. I am Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is TDI Cup alumni Joey Atterbury, along with Carrera Cup North America driver Ashley Freiberg. Joey, this track has been a real test for our competitors this weekend.
It has been a hot and humid one, and let's take a look at that track map. We are here just outside of downtown Austin, Texas at Circuit of the Americas. There's going to be a couple key points to this track out here that we're definitely going to be highlighting today, and that includes turn number 1. It's also known as Big Red. It has a hugely steep elevation climb up into the brake zone. It is very wide on entry, and then there is a big funnel effect from apex all the way to exit. And then turn number 11, all the way at the far end of the track map over there, you see it leads out onto that back straightaway, which goes to turn number 12, the biggest brake zone from the top speed that these cars are going to be having, so that's a great passing opportunity. And then through turn 15, known as the stadium section, and then to round out the lap of 20 turns, Andretti corner there to round it out.
And of course, with a huge field today, we'll want to try and get through as many cars as we can here, because there is a lot of them. And of course, up at the top of it, Alan Metney has the pole once again. And it says Francisco de Jesus. I believe it should be Cole Kleck starting next to him there in second position for this one. As we get to row number 2, it will be Scott Blend starting on the pole for the Masters, with Caden Kelly there in second position in the Masters, rounding out that second row. Therese Lalu will be starting 5th overall. There is Blend, and then we've got Therese starting 5th. We've got Demir Hott as well next to her. Then it's Tony Melito starting in 7th position. And then on the outside of that row, it's going to be Daniel Bloom. John Gilliland will be on the inside of row number 5 in the number 280, and then top 10 going to be rounded out by Reinhold Kron.
Then over into 11th on row number 6 is David Williams. Josh Connolly is lined up next in that 12th place position. In 13th is going to be Joel Johnson driving that number 227 car. Todd Treffert sharing row number 7 in 14th place. In 15th, we've got Mike Mim. 16th is Mark Bowden on row number 8. In the 17th spot, looks like we've got Laura Eli over here in the number 209 car, sharing row number 9 with Eric Lapp in 18th place. In 19th, we've got Frank Vitiello driving that 248 car, sharing row number 10 in the top 20 with Tim Kesman.
From there, you've got Gavrov starting in 21st overall. Grady Willingham will be next to him in 22nd. Then you get into the next row with Alex Pratt starting in 23rd. And, of course, Ross Poole flanking him to the outside. In 25th, it's going to be Thomas Herb, and Alessandro Chiacchetti will be starting next to him. And then one of those drivers doing a lot of work this weekend, Daniel Ammon, is going to be starting in 27th. John Manship will be 28th today, as you've got Charles White in the 29th spot, and then outside of row 15 will be Greg Shermer, Joey.
And then in the 31st position, we've got Woody Witchard back here. 32nd is going to be Darren Fenns. And a couple more. We got Patrick Womack here in the number 220 car starting from 33rd. And Francisco de Jesus rounding out our 34 cars here in the GT3 Cup field.
Well, Ashley, we thankfully have a little bit of the heat and the sun off of us this morning, so hopefully temperatures won't be as big of a talking point as it was yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, the heat definitely was a big effect yesterday. We saw a lot of drivers sort of falling out of their car yesterday of heat exhaustion. So hopefully those drivers get some good rest last night, rehydrated themselves, and they're ready to go after it today. And like you said, there's a little bit of cloud cover, but it is still quite humid. So these cars are still going to get very hot inside of them. So it's still going to be very physical. Again, this is race 2, so some of these drivers might feel a little fatigued from yesterday, so still going to have to be pretty focused going into this race today.
This is a slightly slower pace lap than usual. We understand that there is some things they're sorting out for the gridding, so that might be why we're just taking a little bit of time here to get started. Normally they'd be going at a slightly quicker pace around the pace lap here. So we'll get started on that 35-minute plus 1 lap race very shortly.
But to talk about that, I mean, this is a variable for the drivers to deal with right now. Typically, you're doing about 40, 45 miles an hour, which allows you to kind of really get the car a little bit more up to temperature. It seems like they're more creeping around at about 15 miles an hour. And you see our leaders, they're trying to take advantage and try to clean the tires off, do whatever they can to heat it up. But Ashley, this is a variable.
No, for sure. And it kind of can potentially throw you off your rhythm here going this slow at the start of a race. But yeah, I mean, really in this situation, especially you see the pole sitter, Alan Metney, doing these big, wide turns and also using the brake to really warm up those tires. And when you're going this slow, you have to find a way to be really aggressive with it somehow.
Now, we've got 2 different classes that will be competing at the same time. They're all in the same machinery, but it is on driver rating. And the Pro-Am drivers will have black boxes next to their name, while when you see the blue boxes, that's going to be your Masters drivers out there. They're not competing for points, but they will want to try and get the overall. And, of course, we'll be talking plenty about the strategic uses of being intermingled out there, no doubt. A big one yesterday, Joey, was honestly Blend and Kelly with their fight, and then Kleck and Metney also battling for their class win.
It was fantastic watching really the battles throughout the entire field. But yeah, up front there was some terrific fights on the racetrack out there. Of course, Metney and Kleck definitely kind of running away with it, and Cole's performance on the racetrack has been very, very impressive. And then Metney, of course, coming and making that charge late in the race as well. I think we're pretty much just in for a rematch, if you will.
Which I'm definitely looking forward to. And, I mean, for a lot of these drivers, they're not done. It's going to be a long day for sure, because they have this last race of the Sprint Challenge races we've been holding since yesterday morning. And then those who are taking part in the Endurance Challenge have to get ready for that with practice and then qualifying later in the afternoon. And then, of course, a 90-minute event here before we have our next one at Road America next round for that Endurance Challenge. So drivers will have to try and keep their energy up. And boy, the field is spread out. Joey, you're just pointing out how far down the backstretch they still are.
Yeah, so our pace car is entering turn 16 right now, and I still see part of the field literally on the back straightaway, not even approaching turn number 12 yet. So I know that they were a little bit slow to get rolling out there, but I would have thought that would have meant the back of the field would have been collected by now.
I'm not entirely sure if maybe they're going to be adding an extra lap or something here, because
I have a feeling yes, because the pace car lights are still on right now.
Yeah,
and they're not gridded up 2 by 2. So race control is doing an excellent job of handling this situation right now, just making sure everybody is in their appropriate place. That's what we need to do, right? It needs to all be official and make sure that everybody is happy out there. You don't need to be starting a race and having disappointed drivers and teams.
So, just some information for our viewers. The clock has officially started. There you can see now on our tower. However, they are doing an extra formation lap just to get things sorted out here. So, the competition has officially started, but they aren't going racing yet. We'll just circulate one more time before we get going. Kleck and Metney in a close fight for that championship, so there's more than, of course, just going for the bragging rights for today. They're looking at the big picture between those two. And keep an eye on Therese Lalu. Missed out on the podium yesterday, but starting on it once again like she did yesterday, I'm sure she's going to be eager to try and keep from being prevented twice.
Yeah, well, and she was on the podium back there at Sonoma, so she knows how to spray the champagne. She knows how to get those results, so I think maybe with the temperatures being just a tad bit cooler, it might play into Teresa's favor out here. So we'll just have to see what she can go out and do. I think in the first half of the race, she was performing at a top level and then just kind of fell off just that little bit. And that's kind of what caused her to slip back.
The story of yesterday was definitely Tony Melito, who got his best finish and first podium of the season, getting up into the top 3 and being able to race into that spot. So can he do that again, coming from 5th in his class? Demir Hott separating him from those positions, no doubt. John Gilliland definitely going to have to try and push his way past all those black-boxed cars, because he's sitting 3rd in class.
And I was just checking the ambient air temperature out here because we talked so much about the Texas heat this weekend. It was mid-90s, upper 90s yesterday. I just checked it on the app here. About 80 degrees ambient right now. Now, over the course of the next half hour, I bet you it's going to go up a good 2, 3, 4 degrees. But I think that these drivers might even think it's air conditioned out there right now.
Yeah, compared to what we've been experiencing, Ashley, yeah, it's tolerable.
No, it definitely makes a big difference. And you do get some air from the outside of the car pushing its way in through the vents. But once these cars start to roll and start to go quickly, you start to feel the heat from the engine start to build inside the car. So I'm sure it feels really nice right now. I'd say about halfway through the race, it's going to start to feel pretty warm again.
I love the sector times coming in. We've got a blazing fast minute 26 second sector right now, so that'll pick up as the race actually gets underway. And we get some proper times. And in fact, now that we are into the stadium section, we should see them lining up 2 by 2 pretty shortly.
Yeah, and the field is collected a little bit more than it was on that first pace lap. So I think they should, like you said, line up 2 by 2 here, probably coming out of this long triple apex right-hander to form up for that start. But this is going to be an exciting one. I mean, our biggest field of the weekend with 34 cars out here. There was lots of action in that first race yesterday. A couple of oopsies out there on the racetrack as well. So can't wait to see what this one brings us.
Have more cars on track does mean that it's easier for things to go awry as there's more variables out and around you. But hopefully everybody will be able to manage it. There are some in the back that are having to really hustle to get up there because already the pace car is heading into pit lane, and now Metney is leading them around Andretti corner. Everybody looking like they're able to collect up at the back of the field just in time as they come onto that main straight. Look at those nice, clean rows coming up towards the line as they wait for the call from the flag stand for the last race of the weekend in the Sprint Challenge. They're holding them nice and long here before Metney is allowed to go. And there it is. Green flag is out. Couple drivers popping out a bit, but remember they have to go past that start-finish line or else they get penalized if they don't stay in line. Now they fan out up into turn one as they work their way around. Big red, some of them going up and over the inside curb, bounding over there, but everybody gives space. Oh, a little bit of side-to-side contact in the mid-pack, though.
That was 4 wide up and through turn number 1 and down into turn number 2, but crucially, Cole Kleck has maintained, I should say, has overtaken for the lead. Metney was going through turn number 1 in the lead, but now Cole Kleck finds himself that orange car out front.
That could be really important, that track position today, especially with how closely paced those two have been all weekend long. Look at how much they're having to be patient here at the start, Ashley, up through these S's.
Yeah, that was impressive at the start. Still side-by-side through turn 8. They were side-by-side racing all the way through the S's, so super tight here in the back of the pack as well.
Someone trying to make a move down to the inside into 11 here. It's the 246. Given space at the apex, and now everybody tries to get that throttle down as soon as possible onto the fastest part of the track here at the back straightaway.
Yeah, and it looks like Therese Lalou's got Conley right on her back bumper here, and you got to make sure everything is up to temperature. Of course, you had that extra pace lap, so the driver should be a little bit more confident going into these brake zones, knowing that the grip from those Yokohama tires is going to be underneath them. And now we see our leaders feed their way through turn number 13, 14, head up through this stadium section, really slow it down for turn 15 here, and look at this long GT3 Cup field.
And I'm noticing that Demir Hott is down to 14th. I don't know if maybe he was a part of some of the reshuffling that he had done or if he had really lost that many positions. That is definitely a poor start to this race as he was up in the top 10 and now all the way down to 15th as he loses yet another spot on our tower. But the front of the field already starting to spread out.
Yeah, I see the top 3 starting to kind of break away a little bit. You know, Metney's doing a really good job to try to stay on the back of Cole Kleck out here. But look at this pressure coming out onto the front straightaway here. This could be a passing opportunity by the time we get up into turn number 1. I think this is Therese Lalou in the 242 trying to defend from Kelly. That's Connolly behind in the 299.
Ooh, might be ahead soon. Trying to go around the outside. Ooh. Gives enough space. And wow, that was a power move from Josh, doing it the long way around.
You don't see that happen very often. I think that Therese is just a touch on the back foot, but she gathers it back up nicely, and she's back onto the racing line. Nice. Oh, yeah, she just closes it right back up onto the bumper of Connolly. A little bit wide through there, but you also have to watch out. That looks like Melito, the driver that you were mentioning. He had such a good day yesterday. He's looking to repeat.
Yep, he's got John Gilliland behind him, but again, Gilliland is that Masters class, so he's staying patient knowing that he's in that third spot and he doesn't have pressure from behind from David Williams at the moment. So how long will John wait before he tries to start to attack some of this group, especially, Ashley, if they start fighting themselves?
Yeah, I like to go back to Therese. She's doing a really nice job just kind of keeping her head in the game here. I saw actually Josh got a little bit wide on that apex there in turn 9, and she clipped that apex perfectly. So I have a feeling she's going to still focus forward and try to go after that podium.
Coming down to the braking of 12 once again. You know, Metney up there, as they flash across the middle of the screen, he's still very close to Kleck, so I don't think that battle for the overall lead is over.
I felt that when I was just kind of watching the attitudes of the cars yesterday, Metney was sliding around a lot more than Cole Kleck. We saw him slide in the rear, slide in the front, and he was just probably the driver trying to get a little bit more than the car was willing to give. But remember, we're in much cooler temperatures here this morning. The track is going to provide more grip. That could play into the setup for this 298.
We hop on board with Metney now, coming to the last couple corners. Very good exit coming out of the 19 and into Andretti. He is deep onto the brakes. He is through and into the lead, but a cutback makes it a battle as they bang wheels down the front stretch.
And look at Kleck forcing Metney all the way over to driver's right. Now Metney's car's got some good handling down the straightaway here, got some good top speed. It's a braking duel. The only problem, that orange car of Kleck is right on the racing line. Metney's going to have to find a new way around.
Oh, fantastic posturing from the pair of them, giving just enough space. And wow, you guys keep talking about those curves, but riding on board through 2 really showed how bumpy they were riding them.
Yeah, turn 2, you have to hit that curb perfectly, because if your car is a little bit unsettled jumping over that curb, it can really toss you off the racing line. Also, where Metney is right now, he's going to feel a little bit of aero wash in those high-speed corners. But up here through turn 8, the car is pretty stable behind Cole Kleck here. So I think for Metney, he really just needs to focus on getting a good exit coming out of turn 11 so he can try to pass him in the brake zone at 12.
A lot more distance coming down into 11 here than what we saw for the first half of the lap, and then he closes it back up under braking right underneath that car. Behind them, that is Scott Blend. Now, he's the leader in the Masters, but I'm sure he wouldn't sniff at taking an overall victory in this race.
Remember how deep Metney went on the brakes in turn number 20 the previous lap? He's lining up for it here in turn number 12, kind of shows to the inside and now goes to the outside. That's going to be the tough way around here. Let's see if he tries to stay on driver's right for the entrance to the next corner. Covered off nicely from Cole Kleck, so Metney thought about going to the inside, but then has to go to the outside. Now it's going to go over under the next 2 left-handers here. Incredibly slow. Wouldn't be surprised to see Cole take the middle of the road just like that. Maybe compromise the exit just a touch. Metney is still right on the bumper.
I noticed that too, that hesitation into turn 13 where he kind of looked at the inside and then weaved to the other side as quickly as possible, realizing that door was going to be shut. Now through the triple apexer and into 19 once again. This is where it kicked off last lap, but that's because he got a good run off the corner. Doesn't get the same opportunity this time.
I wonder how much this is just the 2 driving styles between Kleck and also Metney. Remember, we talked about the car sliding around a lot on Metney late in the race. If you start to really take advantage early and be really aggressive early, you kind of have to manage that grip level throughout the entire race, don't you?
Yeah, I was just watching Metney driving through the carousel, and he caught quite a few little slides there already, and we're pretty early in the race, so I'm sure Cole is thinking that as well. If I can make Metney drive super hard and maybe wear his tires off earlier, he might be able to pull away. But if Metney can kind of gather it back up here and try to keep his tires underneath him, he might be able to still make that pass work.
Question is, can he keep those tires underneath him? Because we saw last race, the car was slipping and sliding around by the end of it and seemed to be one of the bugbears. They do look closer to blend to me as well here, Joey.
Yeah, they definitely do. And in the case of Metney, I do think that he's got more performance in the car right now. He definitely seems faster. Here's a lunge down into turn number 11. Oh, forces Cole to stick to the outside. I think that was a smart racecraft move, and now he is stuck on the outside of the racetrack. We're going to see which car has a little bit more top-end speed as we drag race down this long back straightaway, already up over 140 miles an hour. Click it into sixth gear. Here comes the brake markers. What does Cole Kleck decide to do? Dive it down the inside aggressively.
And that was intentional. I saw him lift off the throttle, Ashley, on the backstretch to position himself.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing for him to kind of over-under like that at the last minute. So these guys are racing super hard, and Scott's just kind of back there watching the show go on. So he's got a nice view here, but man, these two are really going after it.
And they're still running away from everybody else. It's about 5 seconds ahead of Kelly right now. So that tells you the speed our top three are able to pace at around this circuit. And once again, we return to the end of the lap where things just seem to start to get exciting each and every time on this race. Blend now actually a real threat for Alan Metney. He does not want to allow that bright yellow car through because that really hampers his chances at trying to challenge for the win.
Whew, and a big wag of the tail coming out at turn number 20 for Metney once again. So this kind of changes the dynamic with that bright yellow third place car kind of creeping in. So Metney was always focused forward, the aggression on our leader, trying to get by Cole Kleck. But now, trust me, he'll see a bright yellow car in that rearview mirror.
Just a little bit of housekeeping. We've lost Tim Kesman from this race. No information on what has forced that car to retire, but he is our only DNF so far in these early stages as they weave through the S's and up the hill once again. Behind them, it is still Gilliland on the podium as well on the Masters class. And, of course, we've mentioned Kelly there in second position. Josh Conley, though, ever since he took that third place in the Pro-Am, has been just sitting comfortably looking to spray the champagne today.
So pretty even. It's actually spread out just a touch from the last couple laps here. And if Cole is able to nail that apex of turn number 11, which he has done pretty much every single lap out here, he does it again. He's able to accelerate down the back straightaway. Metney's nowhere near close enough to make any sort of aggressive moves here into turn number 12. And, of course, Scott Blend has also fallen back. So I think maybe we're seeing Cole Kleck finally kind of get into his own with the car. I noticed he set a purple sector one time at 27.74. Now, don't leave out Metney. His was a 27.77.
And I'm kind of curious, Ashley, because we were harping on it earlier about he needs to watch out for his stuff underneath him. Is this maybe Metney kind of recharging and resetting for an attack later?
Yeah, it does look like he's gathered it back up. He's driving very smooth now, and his braking performance, I'm noticing, is really, really strong over Cole. So it does look like he's slowly reeling him back in. But also this shows how effective one little slide of the car is. It really brought him back quite a bit. Now it's taking him some time to gather Cole back up. But I don't think this race is over yet. He's definitely focusing forward. He's definitely gathered it back up, and he's going to try to go for it again, I think.
I think the key word is controlled aggression, right? You need to be aggressive out there, but you can't be abusing the equipment underneath you. And I think that's exactly what Metney is learning.
Got a nice battle behind them. We were touching on this a little bit earlier. Conley, he is in that third spot in class, but Therese is going to try and sneak up the inside into turn one. Big Red offers an opportunity. She takes the apex away, but we've seen this story over and over, and it winds up the same once again as she falls back down into two.
But sometimes it's just showing that nose, right? Now the driver knows that she's there. Obviously, Josh knew that she was there this whole time, but it's just trying to get them off of the racing line, even if it's just 1 foot. Maybe 1 foot will turn into 2 feet in the next corner, and then that'll be a bigger mistake down the road. So sometimes it's just presenting the car, even if you don't get the pass done.
Well, even here through the S's, I noticed that she was able to close up on Conley through some parts, even right here up out of 9. I think it's reversed. She's now got him on the back foot.
100%. And let's see if she makes the move here into 11, or if she waits. She's going to make a deep lunge on the brakes. Let's not cheat the entry too much. Let's see if there's an over-under attempt from Conley. Sure enough, that's exactly what we're seeing. It's another drag race, just like we saw at Kleck and Metney a few laps ago.
Game of chicken. Who's going to be later on the brakes and can still make the corner? Will we see maybe Therese pull a similar move of pulling back? She's ahead, so I doubt she will at this stage, but Conley still has his nose in, coming down to the apex, and will deny her that inside line. If she can hang tough, though, she'll have the inside for 13, and she does. This could seal the deal.
Incredible racing from the both of them. Room given from Conley, and almost 3 wide coming out of what is turn 13 and 14, but Therese finally gets that pass done, and now Conley has to worry about who's behind. Look at that almost contact there, a couple cars back.
I think that may have been Williams and Treffert, but I'll have to double check. But yeah, someone had to really back out of it over the inside curb. In the meantime, Tony Melito tempting fate there, looking at a 3 wide move. He's thinking this is a great opportunity for myself.
And Therese is loving what she's seeing in the rearview mirror. As soon as she made that pass, all of a sudden he was under threat. I'm talking about Conley in the 299. So the more that he has to worry about what's in his rearview mirror, the more that Therese can focus out front and hit her marks.
So back up onto the podium for the 242 car. Still a long ways back from Metney, who's going to be second place in that Pro-Am. John Gilliland is the one under pressure from the 266 of Bloom. Bloom doesn't like being separated from his rivals within his class and is trying to see if he can get by.
Good little train going through these Sector 1 S's here. Let's make sure everybody stays on the racing line. A couple little variations there going over a couple of those corners, making sure that you stay on the track, right? You don't want to abuse those track limits. And then we feed it up into what is turn 8 and 9 up here at the top of the hill. See who can get the power down. Melito nice and already on the gas, trying to stay in the slipstream.
It amazes me, Ashley, that they've just been an absolute train of cars since the drop of the green. They can't seem to get away from one another.
Yeah, everyone's really similar speed here. So it's awesome because it's creating really close racing, and you have to be super strategic on this track and in these cars to make passes. As you can see, it's really challenging to make a pass work because one corner after another, you have to be in the right position in the following corner. So actually that pass that Therese made was super well executed, even though she was on the outside here in 12, that put her in the inside of the next corner, which ultimately gained her that position. So just have to think ahead and be strategic here.
Tony felt like he had maybe just a bit of a chance, but couldn't get side by side, although that was a slide from Conley coming out of 13 as the back of the car kicks out.
You got to remember, these cars have 500 plus horsepower out of those 4-liter naturally aspirated 6-cylinder motors. So, yeah, got plenty of power under the right foot. And in those slower speed sections, if you really start to ramp it up, it can kick that car loose and create that loose condition.
Yeah. If you ever hear the scream of a flat 6, you almost immediately know that it is that Porsche engine just pushing this car along. As they come out of the final turn, Therese, has really separated herself and left these drivers to fight amongst themselves. Conley under attack from Melito, while Gilliland watches behind, trying to just manage his own race.
Yeah, and if anything, I think that Gilliland was actually a little bit closer this time by, as we see Therese in that awesome livery, that green and blue livery. I always like the designs that some drivers can come up with. Ashley, we talked quite a bit about your guys' livery, but it also has a pretty cool meaning behind it.
Yeah, for our livery, we have the Be Your Own Hero program. It's our superhero program, and ultimately it just inspires everyone to go after their dreams and invest in yourself, believe in yourself, and you can make anything happen. And yeah, Teresa always has the most amazing liveries as well. I think she calls her livery Dory, which is so cute and so Therese. So I love that she's rocking it, and she's super quick driving it.
It certainly looks fast today after just maybe letting the race come to her early. The pace has picked up, and now she's trying to put some distance over her rivals. Still that battle in the mid-pack we've been following just towards the latter end of the top 10 seems to be unable to get away from one another, other than Therese now putting about 10 or 12 car lengths on the rest.
Yeah, and to that point, her last lap time was her personal best, a 2:11.3. after she had passed Conley up there. And yeah, I see you pointing out Sector 1 and Sector 2 from our leader right now. Purple, so that means he is a rocket ship. It's gone from 0.6 of a second to a 1.3 second lead over that black 298 car, and they are no slouch out there. They both turned 209s that last time around, so they are picking it up.
Cole Kleck is a young driver, we should point out, and coming in for his first season in Porsche Sprint Challenge. So we get a little bit of side-by-side action. That looked like Bowden, I think, in a bit of a side-to-side battle there for a brief moment, but is not able to get ahead. But yeah, Cole actually raced in F4 cars, USF 2000, as well as other single-make sports car series. So he's got quite a bit of varied experience.
And when we talk about that type of experience, I'm really looking at the racecraft, right? Sports cars handle and basically drive totally different than those entry-level formula cars, but what those series really do well at is learning and teaching drivers how to race.
246 of Bowden behind Treffert. This is for 11th overall, but 5th, so a top 5 in the Masters category. And behind them, Demir Hott leading Mike Mim. Those two are racing for the Pro-Am category. Demir, again, I'll have to try and double-check maybe after the race to see if he was put farther down the grid than what our grid graphic had implied there, but I was a bit surprised to see him suddenly show up this far away from the lead.
Yeah, and especially with his performance yesterday, was definitely one of those drivers that kind of made some excellent passes out there and moved their way forward, so kind of have to figure out what exactly happened with that kind of drop down the order there, because I've noticed the same thing, him sitting there in 14th as we ride on board the 233 car. This is Reinhold Kron. This is going out onto that back straightaway after that very, very sharp corner there, turn number 11. We've seen these cars get all the way up into 6th gear past about 150 miles an hour before they got to stand on the brakes here. There's those rev lights. Click it up into 6th gear. There's 155 miles an hour, almost 160 before you stand on that brake pedal.
Yeah, Kron and Hott will need some good behavior around one another because they are both teammates and they're in different classes. So they really don't want to trip over one another and kind of work together.
I'm just noticing, if you look down at the data, so if you guys, review cars and whatnot, look at the lateral Gs these race cars are pulling at slow speeds. That was 1.4 G around turn number 14 over there. Let's see about through this long sweeping. I saw a peak of 1.55 lateral Gs. That is some serious grip.
Especially for a sports car. And yeah, our audience might not really understand until you've been in a race car, Ashley, and feel those G-forces. 1.4 might not sound like a lot, but it feels like a lot.
Yeah, I think it's truly underestimated how physical these cars are to drive. As we are seeing, they pull a lot of G's through the corners. As we talk about, it's very hot inside, and you're kind of wrestling these machines around the racetrack. And as we saw in some of the in-car footage as well, there's a lot of steering movement as well. When these cars are sliding, you're correcting the slides through all the corners. So it's super physical, and it's also, you need a lot of neck strength as well. I think that's really a topic that not many people talk about. It's that upper body strength, the neck strength, and also you want to be able to attack the brake in these cars. So really putting a ton of brake pressure down. You want to have good leg strength as well. So these drivers are athletes.
And she mentioned that brake pedal and standing on it. We were looking at the lateral Gs, Joe. They pull some incredible deceleration Gs. It's one of those cars just barely keeping it on the racetrack.
I think that may have been Demir that just clipped the dirt there coming up in over 9. We've talked a lot about how that's a blind corner, so you can so easily just go a little bit too far off of the side of the track. And so we come back to the back straightaway. Things settling in a little bit compared to before. Everybody kind of spreading apart, including Cole Kleck. We already talked about how quick he is. He's up to 3 seconds ahead now.
I think that's our biggest difference between yesterday's race and today's race. It was really Metney and Kleck kind of together the whole time. I will say that they separated for a small period, but then Metney really brought it back, and I believe this is Bowden on Treffert once again. So that's through 13, but unfortunately that blue car of Mark Bowden is going to be on the wrong side of the road. A little bit of a evasive maneuver there. Got to be careful about the inside. Let's see if he's able to execute the over-under. No, not quite. Nicely defended from that red 214.
Had just enough space to try and cut back, but it didn't get him the spot like he wanted. Again, having those other two cars behind him is a bit of a concern for him. Kron is for position. Of course, Hot is not. And, well, he's going to have Hot behind him instead as the two teammates swap spots.
Sometimes it could be radio coordination, especially if they're on the same team out there. And actually, Ashley, you can probably speak on that. Sometimes it's a whole lot better to be smart than necessarily be aggressive, as Mark Bowden still chases Trefford up here into turn one with a big aggressive move.
Yeah, that was a nice pass there by Bowden. Oh, there might be an over-under here. You want to be on the inside of turn two, though, to make this stick, although it looks like Trefford made that stick instead, so nice pass there.
I think Bowden had a little bit too much curb. Even from this high angle, I could see the car bouncing around as he took the inside of turn two. So that definitely hurt his traction off the corner. And behind him, Demir Hot, Pro-Am car. Remember, it was Kron that is within the class of Bowden. So completely different story at this stage. But it does seem like they think Demir might have a little bit more pace in comparison. Let's see if he can go by faster.
Well, definitely. Remember, because he got by at turn 19 into turn number 20, and there is a significant gap and another deep dive from Mark Bowden towards the apex. But I have a feeling it's going to be a similar story to what we saw out there at turn number one. Looks like he's actually able to get off the corner a touch better than earlier in the lap, but we've seen this a couple times now, a drag race down the back straightaway.
Question is, who can come away with it? Because, yes, it's a left-hander at the end of it, but it switches back into 13 the other direction very quickly, and we've seen some very clever moves, including, I think, just parking it on the apex. Trefford ensuring that Bowden can't do the switchback.
Well, it's pretty good racecraft right there, but you got to be careful about that third car in line. That is Demir Hot after getting by his teammate right there, and he is anxious to make a couple more passes. I think that's exactly why that team order probably came through here, and Demir's going to look to the inside, except this isn't a brake zone. You pretty much just roll the speed through the triple apex.
Still hoping to maybe set himself up for coming up into Andretti, or maybe just getting as close as he can, knowing that Andretti is that critical corner exit. Bowden is climbing all over the rear wing of Trefford. Now he's going to try it once again into the final turn. Is there another cutback? Because that seems to be the story of the day. Yes, it is. Trefford still gets the better launch.
Ashley, what does Mark need to do here? He's made several aggressive moves into the brake zone, but they all end up in over-unders.
Yeah, ultimately, you want, as the passing car, to control the other car's speed. Oh my goodness, that was really close there. Nice evasive mover by Bowden, but then he lost that position to Hot, so really nice job by Hot by being in the right position at the right time to take advantage of that. But man, poor Trefford there, he lost it in the rear.
Check the paint after the race because they must have scraped a little off with how close they were to making contact. Great job by everybody in that situation. Unfortunate for Trefford as he loses many positions in the order.
So now Demir Hot is kind of the lead of this three-car train, but you already see him standing on the gas and starting to pull away from Mark Bowden. So I think that this was the case that Demir had plenty of performance in the car, was just kind of stuck behind being really nice to one of his teammates, and now that he's free and in clean air, he can go out there and actually perform some fast laps.
Yeah, Daniel Bloom is the one he is aiming for, and that's going to be for sixth position if he could run him down, but it does look like there's a bit of distance before he can make it up there. 5 minutes plus one lap, and time flies when you're having fun. My goodness, this race has gone by quickly.
Yeah, plus that early little extra pace lap out there, that took a couple minutes out of our race too, but guess what? Everybody's in the same boat. Pick up an oar.
Well, I think the river is going to be coming to the end pretty soon and emptying out into the ocean that will be the Endurance Challenge pretty soon, as these drivers will have their last chance to try and make up spots in the Sprint Challenge and try and get a position. Seeing Williams and Gilliland showing that they've lost a spot. Not sure what that one is about. Maybe just a timing and scoring glitch that just showed up shortly. Haven't really had much to talk about at the front just because of Kleck really being on top of it today.
I think that there might be just a touch of management going on too, and they were doing 209, so Kleck's fastest lap is a 209.0, Metney's a 209.5, but that last time by they were both 1+ seconds slower. We know those Yokohama tires provide plenty of grip throughout the entire race length, so I wonder if it's just a little bit of getting through until the checkered flag.
I thought I saw Daniel Bloom's flashers on.
I did, yes.
Yeah, not the headlights, but the emergency thing.
And is that a button on the steering wheel? Is it an actual column? How do those go on?
So that usually comes on automatically if you spin the car. So I'm kind of surprised to see them on right now, because to actually press that button, you'd have to reach to the center console and press that button separately. So I am not sure why those hazards are on.
He's looking pretty fast in comparison to Gilliland, at least until turn 8 and 9. Now he's on the back foot, and Demir Hott has indeed caught him. He could get a position here. Looking down to the inside, he's on the charge in this race, and as he hits the brake into 11, he's got the inside away from him. Now has to out-drag him down the back stretch.
Yeah, Demir bounced up over that apex curb in turn number 11, and now he's got the inside, but it is, again, who's got the top speed down this back straightaway, and then, of course, who can stand on that brake pedal the deepest, take that car into turn number 12. Pretty even on those brake lights. Seems like Demir's got the inside line. Nicely executed.
Oh, but he's going to try and come back at him. I am getting information that Bloom had spun earlier in this race, but we did not see it on camera. So that's why he's got those flashers on. And now that Hott has gotten by him, now wants to try and get by Gilliland, which won't be for points position. And while it might be the cow car for John, I think Demir is the one that is hoofing it.
Yes, definitely. Demir is doing a good job laying down some fast lap times. It's kind of reminiscent of what we saw yesterday, right? It was just marching his way up through the field. Didn't quite have the track position today to kind of start a little bit more towards the front, but doing a nice job.
Yeah, really impressed with the recovery we're seeing from the 241 car. While Bloom is not out of the woods, Bowden seems to have quickly caught him. Bowden, though, is a Masters car. It's a Pro-Am for Daniel Bloom, and now he's found the button to turn off the emergency signal.
And sometimes, let's say if you're in the case of Mark Bowden, you've been pretty much defensive. Now you can actually learn from some of these cars that might have slipped by you a little bit, that might be a little bit faster. And I actually think that I saw him pick up on his lap time, a 2:12.0 that last time by. So he himself is learning a little bit too.
Just checking to see what our gaps look like between the cars here, if we've got any other battles. And top 10 have all really separated from one another. This is where the action has been here in the mid-pack, although we'll take a glance at Cole Kleck just to give him a little bit of love, especially because I think it looks like it'll be 2 laps to go this time by.
Yeah, there's no way it's going to, because he's coming through the stadium section right now, and I was noticing the gap. It's back up to 4.4 seconds, so this is the largest gap we've seen between our top runners. And remember how I was saying maybe there's a little bit of management. They were doing 210s for a little while. That last time by from Cole was back down into the 209s, a 209.5, while Metney was still struggling in the 10s.
Coming up towards the end of the lap. There's the view from Metney to show you how much he's lost. It's 4 seconds up the road, as we heard Joey mention, and I think that was a bit of a mistake out of 19.
Yeah, it's just a touch wide, but the difference I see in the driving styles, Metney is much more up on the wheel, if you will. He is really given those steering inputs, trying to control the car, do exactly what it needs to do for him. However, there's just maybe a little bit of a miss in setup, if you will, because he seems to be kind of struggling, catching some slides, just like we saw there in turn number 1 as he tried to put the power down up over the top of the hill. But that's all learning. Take the notes to what you can do. Did it start that way? Was it that way in the middle? Or did it develop that way?
Does seem like tire management, one of the aspects that Metney's going to try and focus on after this weekend. But we haven't mentioned as much that, Metney also races in the Carrera Cup, Ashley. But, I mean, if I read off all the different stuff he's been participating in, 24-hour series, GT World Challenge, IMSA. He's also been in the Endurance Challenge, so he's a busy boy.
Yeah, he has quite a bit of experience, and he does a great job in Carrera Cup. He has won a few races there in the Pro-Am class, so he definitely does a really, really nice job. And, yeah, just kind of like what Joey was talking about, I think there's just a little bit of a difference in how the cars are handling right now, and some of it might be attributed to driving style. It does look like Cole is a little bit smoother with his initial turn in. And honestly, I think that comes from his open wheel experience. I started out in open wheel as well. And you can't be too aggressive in an open wheel car because with all the aerodynamics working for you, it's just the driving style you start to develop. So I just think it comes from background and experience right now.
I believe if they finish as they are, this will put Cole Kleck back in the points lead by a single point after today. So this has been an important weekend for him, and it is Alan Metney that he has been battling with for that title.
It has just been those top two up front setting the pace. I think that Scott Blend you could definitely consider into that group as well. I mean, he's only sitting, call it a few seconds behind Metney. Not quite as close to the front as he probably would have liked, but you got to remember he is leading that 992 Masters category as our leader. Gets the white flag, 1 lap to go.
Just needs to circulate around 20 more corners, and he'll go back-to-back for this weekend. That's exactly what he did at Sebring to start it off, and would have done so at Sonoma, but copped some penalties in the first race, which he quickly learned from, and has not let it set him back too bad. Metney, yeah, you can see here as we watch the stationary camera, didn't even get to see Metney flash through. He has dropped so far behind. And a big credit to Scott Blend, the Ironman for this weekend. Still has one more race to go with the Endurance Challenge and is getting ready to sweep every Sprint Challenge class win that he's run this weekend.
Ashley, did you see Cole Kleck in turn number 1 right there? I mean, he was still aggressive. He had just gotten the white flag. He knows there's one more lap, but he's still pushing that performance envelope.
Yeah, he had a nice 4-wheel drift there. Just a perfectly executed corner, in my opinion. And I love to see that. Like, he's definitely still pushing every single lap, treating it as if there is a car battling right behind him. So I love the focus right now.
And last lap, I think he was 1.5 seconds faster than Metney as well. So, yeah, you're right. He's not resting on his laurels. He's got the fastest lap of the race by about half a second over Alan Metney. So the pace is there, and the racecraft looked fantastic today between himself and his main title rival here in the Pro-Ams for Sprint Challenge North America. And just a few more corners to go, Joey, and he'll get to celebrate once again.
So we'll watch and ride on board with our leader, the orange number 211 of Cole Kleck. He's got to feel good after this one, not only winning yesterday, making it 2 wins for the weekend. And you got to think the Texas heat, the temperatures, they were monumental to overcome. He has done it.
Just a spectacular job all around from the 211 car out of the final corner into the line. Flashes the headlights in celebration as it's back-to-back wins for Cole Kleck in the Pro-Am category.
Metney crosses the line in second place in that same class, and here comes our 992 Masters class winner. That is the 245, the Ruckus Racing Machine of Scott Blend.
Great job from Scott. Good job from Kelly. Just didn't seem to have anything for Scott like we saw yesterday as he'll finish second. And Therese Lelou with her second podium of the season here at COTA.
She is going to feel good after that one. I think she wanted a little bit of a redemption run after yesterday, and she is going to stand on that podium as we watch the rest of the field. Got to remember, 30 of these GT3 Cup cars out here. I got to say, in the commentary booth, it sounds amazing as they drive by.
It does. Yeah. It is a constant roar in front of us. Without a doubt, woo, hold on to it. That is Johnson, and Joel gets across the line without losing the car.
Here comes Laura, Eli, Poole, and Treffert there in the red car with the white racing stripes. And I believe this is Eric Lapp coming across there in the 297 as well. Got a handful more. Got about 10 more that are going to come around turn number 20 here. Give us a big wag at the tail and finish today's race.
Very interesting. We got a lot of groups out there. They just seem to come in packs. And Chiacchetti, he'll barely beat Herb to the line. That was a tight one by about 0.3 of a second.
That was almost like Kleck and Metney doppelganger right there. That was an orange and a black car fighting out there for the position.
Thankfully, they were towards the other end of the pack, so we didn't get too confused seeing them. We're just waiting on a few more as we only had, it looks like 2 DNFs because Kesman and Ammon looks like they have both not finished the race on this one. Still, very clean, very excellent race to finish up our Sprint Challenge action. here this weekend before we head off to the Endurance Challenge later today. So let's go through your finishing order with Cole Kleck taking the overall win and Metney coming home behind him for P2. Scott Blinger, winner in Masters, third overall, with Caden Kelly finishing in second in that Masters class. Therese Lalu taking a podium finish in Pro-Am. Then sixth overall, it was Melito, with seventh going to Conley. And David Williams has passed John Gilliland. I don't think we covered that. He moved on to the podium, so congratulations to the 237. Gilliland will be ninth overall. Demir Hott will be 10th. Joey?
Yeah, and then 11th place. Overall, we've got Bloom followed up with Mark Bowden finishing in 12th. Reinhold Kron in 13th, and Mike Mim chasing him across the line in 14th. Pratt in the number 202 will finish inside the top 15. Joel Johnson in 16th place with Laura Eli behind him in 17th. Poole back here in 18th with Todd Treffert in 19th, and then Eric Lapp rounding out that top 20.
Frank Vitiello will be 21st today, with Gaffarov in 22nd. Grady Willingham 23rd, and Kia Ketty, as we saw, very close on that 24th spot with Herb just behind him at the line. White was 26th with Woody Witchard in 27th. Greg Shermer 28th, and Manship last one to finish in 29th. Kesman and Ammon, your DNFs today. We got another podium ceremony right down there on your screens coming up very shortly. Stick around for more here in the North America Sprint Challenge 992 Cup Cars.
It's hard to contain your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
What? WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy. Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
Experience the ultimate thrill, Porsche GT Track Day, where passion meets performance on some of North America's most legendary racetracks. Designed exclusively for Porsche owners, this is your chance to unleash the full potential of your vehicle in a motorsport environment. Drive the same circuits as professional racers, on the same weekend as Porsche Sprint Challenge events. Where will your Porsche take you? With limited space, every Porsche GT Track Day ensures a premium, exclusive experience. You'll get nearly 3 hours of track time, starting with reconnaissance laps, progressing through lead-follow sessions, and culminating in exhilarating open laps. Plus, strap in for heart-pounding hot laps with a professional race driver.
I thought I was fast. Didn't resemble anything that I've ever done.
Beyond the track, immerse yourself in VIP hospitality, premium viewing areas, and exclusive paddock access where you can witness Porsche Sprint Challenge teams in action. Spots are limited. Scan the QR code now to reserve your place at Porsche GT Track Day.
that sugar sweet. You got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the potion, loving this devotion. Pick it up, sweet emotion. Every time, every night, you and I count a roll. Switch it up where I'm going. Stay on the fly, just in time, know the right way to go. I'm on the road, it's magic, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me so high, you always make the highlights. I love the way we vibe out, you're like a centerfold. Ooh, that sugar's got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the potion, loving this devotion. That sugar. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the potion, loving this devotion. Pick it up, sweet emotion. Every time, every night, you and I count a roll. Switch it up where I'm going. Stay on the fly, just in time, know the right way to go. I'm on the road, this magic, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me so high, you always make the highlights. I love the way we vibe out, you're like a centerfold. Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the potion, loving this devotion. That sugar. All I want is satisfaction. Make a move, baby, you got nothing to lose. Give me that good reaction. Gonna make it right, little like an offer I can't refuse. I'm on the road, this magic, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me so high, you always make the highlights. I love the way we vibe out, you're like a centerfold. Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the potion, loving this devotion. Ooh, that sugar sweet. You got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat. Tested by the potion, loving this devotion.
Our last podium for the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America Series is underway. The 992 Cup cars had a great race here today like they did yesterday. And we'll start off with the 992 Masters. In the 2-7, finishing third today, it's David Williams. In P2, driving the number 208, Caden Kelly.
Take my mind and run with you. You shine so
Sweeping the weekend, every single race he entered, winning his class. Our victor in the 245, Scott Bland.
I don't got no real estate and nobody knows my name. I could find a place and see it all a different way. Slow down.
All right, Scott.
Congratulations on your 4th win of the weekend. That's super impressive. How was your race today? Were you feeling a lot of pressure from Caden Kelly behind you, or what was your thoughts during the race?
Well, I'll tell you this. Caden gave me a lot of inspiration in Sonoma. He kicked my ass last year bad. And after the race, I'm like, man, you are unbelievable. You're so fast. And, you know, I asked him if it was at his home track. He said, kind of, but I really, COTA's my jam. So I went to work, and I studied, and I worked so much harder than I normally would because I knew how fast he was. And if COTA was his jam, after what he did to me in Sonoma, I needed to work my ass off. So that's what I did. Little inspiration from Caden. So, yeah, but it was just a good race. We kept it together. I had a front row seat to one hell of a dogfight, too, with, Metney and Kleck right in front of me, front row seat. They were fighting like crazy, and I could have kind of got in there. I'm like, I don't want any part of this. So I backed it off, and but it was a really good race. It was a great morning, so, thank you.
Yeah, great job this weekend.
And the world's that you feel. Summer days, summer nights, lose it all, close your eyes. It's okay, waste your time. I don't mind.
And now it's time to spray the champagne! Fantastic job by our 992 Masters Podium finishers here in the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America GT3 Cup. Next up is our Yokohama Apexin Award. This is for our driver making the hardest charger in the race. Today, it was the 212 of Woody Whitchard.
I could find a place and see it all a different way. Slow down, you got what you need.
Congratulations to Woody. Excellent race today, charging through the field. And now for the 992 Pro-Ams. Fighting back, bouncing back from yesterday. Third place goes to the 242 of Therese Lalu.
Up all night, no time to keep.
Second, driving the 298, it's Alan Metney.
I don't got no real estate and nobody knows my name. I could find a place and see it all a different way.
And 2 wins on the weekend for Victor today. It's the 211 of Cole Kleck.
You can see it right now. Summer days, summer nights, lose it all, close your eyes. It's okay.
All right, Cole. Nice job today. You had quite the battle with Alan Metney in that first half of the race. What was going on in your mind while that was all going on? He was putting on a lot of pressure.
Yes, ma'am. No, Alan was definitely in my mirrors, but Todd gave me a great car in the top racing crew. I want to thank him so much for all the support they've given me this year. But I saw Metney in my mirrors. I knew I could go defend, and we'd be okay. Metney kept a good pressure all lap, or all the first stint of the race, and then I think our tire pressures came in a little late, and then we pulled away.
No, it definitely pulled a little bit of a gap there at the end. So you had 2 race wins this weekend. Was that what you were expecting going into this weekend?
I knew we'd be good with the car, and I knew Top would provide us perfect materials for this weekend. So yes, I knew.
All right, nice job. Congratulations.
And of course, a thank you to Alan's crew for accepting his trophy for him today. If you guys would just hold off for a second, let him get out of the way. Congratulations Two-car winner in the 992 Pro-Ams. And also a very special happy birthday to our producer, Mike Burba, behind the scenes, making this all happen. We've got a little bit more coming your way this afternoon with the Porsche Endurance Challenge later here at Circuit of the Americas.